Alright, so I want to talk about the idea of a Green New Deal. This is a popular idea that's been going around. Many people are interested in it, and I want to kind of break it down and discuss it with you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, I want to talk about the green part, then I want to talk about the New Deal part. So starting with the green part. Green part, the idea is 100% renewable energy, zero carbon emissions. The problem is, this is not something that's actually possible. Well, let me rephrase that. It may be possible, not at our current technology level, and at our current technology level is not exactly plausible. So, if we're going to have renewable energy, meaning wind, solar, and water being our primary sources of power, there are many things that need to be taken into consideration. One is the fact that these sources of power are considered to be unreliable sources of power. It's a cloudy day, no solar power. No wind, no wind power. Drought, no water power. You get the idea. Now, these are things normally to be expected in a cycle of a day, right? Especially with the solar part. So that brings into mind batteries, right? We can use batteries to store the energy. However, that has its own caveats. Batteries tend to be specifically designed for a purpose, meaning a fast discharge or a slow discharge. If you try to use a battery designed for one and make it a multi-use battery, you will wear down the battery significantly. So I can power a large number of buildings for a short time with one battery station, or I can power a small number of buildings for a long time with a power station. Now, this seems like, okay, we can plan things out that way. However, people move, seasons change, and power demands are not stable. So that is one of the caveats to it. So what type of batteries to use? Well, lead acid batteries traditionally tend to be the more robust type, unless there's some new types that I'm not familiar with that can handle varying discharge rates. But lead acid batteries tend to require potable water. It's water that you and I can be drinking. So I'm not saying it's a bad idea to incorporate a lot of renewable energy into our power grid. However, I don't think it's a good idea to solely rely on it. Another energy source that I'd be interested in looking into is modular nuclear power. These are small-scale nuclear reactors that don't operate in a pressurized system, which can be used on a local level to power municipalities and so forth. And yes, I know people are going to say, but radiation, there are ways to protect against that. So that is the green part. Those are the things that I have concerns on, and I would want to see worked out more clearly before jumping on the bandwagon of green energy. Now for the New Deal part. So what's the New Deal? Well, the New Deal was initially a Truman thing where he saved capitalism, and the idea is that more government jobs for people to ensure that the economy stays going because people have jobs. So if the government provides jobs, then there will be jobs for people. Also, more taxes on the rich, which, what's it called? Let's see how I explain this. So the idea is, so if we look at our economic system, right, it's just like any other cycle in life. Things are only beneficial if predation happens in a cycle, which in the economic system means, okay, rich people are predatory on poor people, government's predatory on the rich people, people are predatory on the government. So as long as there's that balanced cycle going on, then you have a more stable system. as opposed to what we have now is a unidirectional predatory system where the government preys on people, the rich prey on people, and the rich prey on the government. So that's part of the New Deal. Now, the government jobs part, that's also a good idea too. However, what we're seeing now, and which is, I think, another reason why we have this, is the government shutdown. Part of the reason why I think Trump shut down the government is to dissuade this idea of a New Deal, right? To dissuade the idea of government jobs. Now, you have people that say they want smaller government. That's, if you really want a response to that, my question is going to be, okay, who do you want to kill? Because you and I are all part of the government, whether we are active participants or not. Even as a passive participant, we are both part of the government. So, and if more of the average person is involved in the government, well, then the average person has more of a say in the direction of the country, for example. Hey, look at that. How's that for an idea? Getting to decide your own fate. Now, the question is, are there going to be enough jobs? Can we create enough jobs without creating useless jobs that are people just collecting money? Probably, for a while at least. One thing we have to not look forward to, but be wary of is automation. Now, this is not to say that automation is a bad thing. However, it is going to have a negative impact on the economy. The more and more automation gets implemented, the more and more people are going to find themselves out of work. So one idea that's been tossed around is the idea of a universal basic income, which has its merits and has its drawbacks. One of the drawbacks is, if you ask most of the people on welfare or unemployment, they don't want to be there. They want to be the person deciding their own fate rather than having to live off of what's handed to them by the government. However, at the same time, this is, people being on welfare and unemployment and, poor in general, that's what our current economic system promotes. So I kind of like the idea of a universal basic income. However, I would rather it be in a way where people can still kind of earn it. And one thing I would be interested in is giving the people to do something for themselves so that they kind of get this win-win situation. And that is to be educated. Basically, people get paid to learn. This seems like a ridiculous idea on the top, but if you think about it and you start to analyze how people behave in certain situations, then the idea becomes not so ridiculous. Of course, one of the arguments that people will first make is that capitalism promotes ingenuity. And I will tell you right now that line is 100% bullshit. Alright? That is fucking retarded. There's only two things that promote, sorry, not ingenuity, innovation. That's what I meant to say. Capitalism promotes innovation. Bullshit. Only two things promote innovation: desire and ability. Now, not that I'm 100% against capitalism, I'm just 100% against 100%. I'm not 100% against capitalism, I'm just against 100% capitalism. Capitalism explicitly denies people ability. That is the point of capitalism. I have something, and if you want it, you have to appeal to me. And if what I have is the ability to empower you to do something for yourself, then you still have to appeal to me. Okay, so if we want to be able to take care of our people, take care of ourselves, and be able to have a future, maybe find cleaner power sources, maybe find cures for cancer, maybe solve a lot of medical, industrial, and economic problems. Well, one way could be to start educating everybody. I mean, isn't that the whole reason of why we have an educational system in the first place? So that people can come together and find ways to create problems for create solutions for problems. Yes, I said create problems. I mean, people will create problems regardless. That's just what people do. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, smart, or stupid. But through education, there's a better chance that we can find solutions and do actually what most of us want to do, and that is create a more stable and more secure for the next day, for the next generation, for the next whatever. So, just something to think about. That's it.